Hello, in a couple of weeks I'm going to the launch event for Ox Trails, which is the public art trail that I've been involved with, and my ox has been decorated using cyanotype prints as my inspiration. So I had this kind of mad idea, because I do it a lot on fabric, that it would be fun to make an outfit that would coordinate with my ox. So this is the first stage. I'm using this lovely bamboo silk fabric, and I've cut out my pieces using these sort of weights, which is quite useful when you're using floaty fabric. And I won't be able to show you the next stage because I have to do that in the dark. I will be painting on the cyanotype solution, and then I will be exposing it to the sunshine. I haven't quite decided my design yet. I've got one or two ideas, and I'll be able to show you that stage. So keep watching to see whether it's going to turn out okay. So I've treated my fabric with cyanotype solution. I've got a video which I'll link where I show how to do this. And I do it in my garage because I can exclude the light from there. But as long as you keep it out of direct light, it's okay for a little while. So I'm in my dining room and I've drawn the curtains. And what I've done is I've pinned the pieces of fabric to, as you can see, sort of some bits of insulation we had lying around, and I think a bit of sort of polystyrene, just so I want the fabric to be able to stay in place. And also I'm actually pinning the foliage down as well, because these are too big to put glass or perspex over, because I just haven't got any sheets that are that size. I'm pinning them just loosely down. I don't actually mind a little bit of movement because I think that adds a nice sort of effect to the actual image. It's a nice bright sunny day, and I'm bringing these out and I'm putting them in the direction of the sun, and you can see, because I've speeded it up, how quickly the fabric is turning blue. And what I'm doing now is that I'm collecting some other bits of foliage. So I'm using a mixture of fern leaves and some flower heads, actually from some parsley that I had that had starting to go to seed a bit, but has very pretty umbrella for flowers, a bit like cow parsley. I'm adding them slightly later because what I like is you get a variation in tone. Some of the light has already started to turn the fabric blue, but if I put these pieces on now, then you'll still see them, and I'll show you in the final result. You get a lovely gradation of colour. So the original pieces, the images will be white or nearly white, and then they'll get progressively darker, and it gives you a lovely dimension to your print. I'm also timing how long these are outside because I want to do the sleeves to about the same amount of time so they all end up the same shade of blue. And I think I left them out for about 9 minutes. At this time of year, the sun's very strong, so it does turn blue very quickly. So I'm now taking them in, and I will rinse them and until the water runs clear, and then dry them. So I'm doing exactly the same thing with the sleeves. I'm putting them out. Fortunately, the sun went in a little bit, but because it's so bright behind the clouds, it's still going to have an effect. I think because of that, I did leave them a bit longer than I did the front and the back. And again, I've got my fern leaves to hand, and I'm adding them a little bit later, so I get that same dimensional effect. So after rinsing them and drying them and ironing them, you can see how beautifully they've come out. I'm really pleased. I kind of worked a little bit by instinct, but I'm pretty happy with the positioning of everything. And next step is to sew it all together. I'm using a pattern that I've already made up not very long ago. I'll link it below, and it's quite a simple top. But this fabric, because it's this mixture of bamboo and silk, it's quite slippery and it frays quite easily. So it was a little bit tricky to work with. And because of that, I wanted to finish the seams so that they would be enclosed as much as possible. And I do a technique called French seaming, where first of all you sew the wrong sides together, then you clip the seam, turn it the right way round, and that way you trap any raw edges within the seam, so there isn't anything else to fray. So here's a close-up. You can see that this is the second part of the process. So I've sewn the wrong sides together and I've turned it the other way, and you can see there's no raw edge. So here's my top nearly finished. Now I've got the same pattern I used for this. I made this one first, and because I seem to be in the habit of theming my outfits to events, I wore this for the opening of my exhibition, which, Cabinet of Curiosities, Botanical. This is a gorgeous Liberty print which I've had squirreled away for 2 or 3 years, and it has lots of sort of fossils and butterflies under these domes, so I thought that really went with the theme. And on here you can see I used elastic on the sleeves, which is part of the pattern, and I think that worked really well. But with this one, I actually think, and trying it on, I think it's going to look better keeping these quite wide, because it sort of shows off the cyanotype print really well, which obviously is the most important thing. And so what I think I'm going to do actually is I'm going to hem both the bottom edge here and of the sleeves, and I'm going to do it by hand, partly because one thing I've noticed is that using the machine, because this has only got glue on one side, because on the other side it's kind of the solution didn't penetrate to the other side with these ones. I don't know why, because on other ones they have, but anyway. What happens quite easily is that it can show white a bit. If you do something wrong and have to unpick it, normally you can get away with that. On this, it shows a few sort of little white marks, and I just think that doing it by hand, there'll be fewer holes, so it will look better. Also, I quite like hand sewing. I'll just sit outside or sit in front of the TV and the football's on or something, and I'll hem the edges. And the reason I tried it on, and I've got these clips because I was upstairs in the bedroom, so I use these hair clips, and I worked out that was a nice length. So that's what I'm going to do, and then when it's all finished I will do the final reveal. So we're just going to go out to our event at the Bodleian, and here is my top. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. We are going to be wearing name badges apparently, but I think anyone who's seen my ox will know that it's me, because I will match. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I make this, and my next video is going to be me showing how I've done the whole process of painting the ox, so I hope you'll watch that. So thanks for watching. Bye.